Ryan Bertrand, Fraser Forster in the England squad today for the upcoming World Cup qualifiers.
Excellent. Forster, that's a recall for him, isn't it?
It
Because he
is,
didn't
yeah.
miss out last time. So
exactly that.
A lot of competition in the goalkeepers.
Yep.
All right, let's talk to Alexis with the weather.
Yes.
And you've been keeping an eye on one or two meteorological things going on further afield as well, haven't you?
Well, out in the Atlantic is Hurricane Maria and Hurricane Lee, and we're going to get some part of that over the weekend. Now, it is worth stressing that the water around the UK can't sustain a hurricane, so it won't be a hurricane because the waters here are quite cool, and over in the Atlantic, the western side of the Atlantic, they're very warm. So Andy Blakemore took this aerial shot of Hamble River in today's sunshine.
Jenny Wilson photographed a pile of colourful leaves you can see there in Reading.
And Anthony Lowe captured the blue skies at Romsey Abbey.
After a lovely day today, we are looking at rain in the forecast overnight tonight and some murky conditions with low clouds. So there will be some outbreaks and mainly light and patchy rain during the early hours of the morning after a dry start. And the rain could be heavy for a time during the early hours, but for most of us it will be fairly patchy. There'll be some drier periods, perhaps some low cloud in places, and temperatures will stay high, dropping to around 13 to 16 Celsius. So a damp start to the day tomorrow. The rain will continue and could be quite heavy for a time during the latter part of the morning, clearing its way eastwards. Once it does clear, one or two showers will follow. There will be some sunshine as well and a brisk southwesterly wind. Temperatures tomorrow will peak at around 19 to 20 Celsius. Very similar temperatures to today, but there will be that keen breeze which will take the edge off temperatures, especially along exposed coastal stretches. Tomorrow night will be fairly dry. We are looking at the odd shower initially, but there may be some mist and fog patches first thing on Saturday morning, and it should be a mainly dry start to the weekend. Temperatures tomorrow night a little lower than tonight, down to around 10 to 11 Celsius in towns and cities, possibly down to around 8 or 9 Celsius in the countryside. So a cool and murky start to the day on Saturday. A bright start during the morning. There is the chance we could have a cluster of showers along the south coast for a time in the morning. Sunshine elsewhere, ahead of a band of rain which is moving in from the Atlantic, and this rain will move in towards the afternoon and into the evening and overnight into Sunday. Now, the Met Office have issued a rain warning. We could have some really quite torrential downpours from midnight on Saturday until around 6 o'clock on Monday at times. The risk of localised flooding, so do stay in tune to your local BBC radio station for the latest on the travel situation. Over the next few days, we are expecting a good deal of cloud, especially tomorrow morning with some outbreaks of rain, but brightening up tomorrow afternoon, and it should be mainly dry with the odd isolated shower, but a keen southwesterly wind. And that breeze stays strong, very strong, the chance of gales for coastal stretches on Sunday. Tony.
Thanks, Alexis. You've got to come over here quickly because you're joining us for this one. What comes to mind when you think of your railway commute? Delays, maybe? Crowded carriages, perhaps?
Well, one station announcer is attempting to perk up passengers and give them a more soothing journey with the aid of children's poetry.
Because Wokingham Station's Tony Knight has a love of A.A. Milne and an ambition to turn us all from doleful eels to joyful tiggers.
Good ambition. Today, rather appropriately, on National Poetry Day, Alan Sinclair has the tale of Winnie the Pooh and the railway announcer.
Next train, platform 1, will be the 10:56 London Waterloo, making all the normal stops.
Tony Knight is not your typical station announcer. He's always had a friendly, personable way with passengers, but in recent months he's also helped fill the time between trains by delving into the poetry books that delighted him as a young boy.
I'm going to read you a poem, Christopher Robin poem. It's called Lines and Squares. It goes like this. Whenever I walk in a London street, I'm ever so careful to watch my feet. And I keep in the squares and the masses of bears who wait at the corners, all ready to eat the sillies who tread on the lines of the street. Go back to their lairs, and I say to them, bears, just look how I'm walking in all the squares.
It brightens our mornings in the cold when we were all stood there in our winter finery last year, and you would recite poems to us.
I was standing on the platform, and as always I say, please make sure you stand behind the yellow line. And then I said, actually, I have quite a conversation going with the customers often, and I said, that actually reminds me of a poem. And so when I went home, I dug around in my old bookcase and found my original 2 Winnie the Pooh books. And so the next morning I brought it in, I read it out, and people loved it. And it just went from there.
Bit different, got me thinking about something else. Then looking at my phone.
I used to get the train from Wokingham to work a few months ago, and it did make me smile. When I was raging because all the trains were cancelled or delayed, you know, it did make my day a little bit better.
Might be a bit miserable in the mornings and go to work and like day-to-day things. Yeah, it's positive, it makes people a bit happier.
Nice poem. Lovely, isn't it? Yeah, lovely. One can't just go out there and blast away with Winnie the Pooh. You've got to make sure that the important things are in place, and those are particularly, of course, safety, and making sure that people have the information they need to get their trains. Once those are in place, I know the systems where I can judge what the gap is. I have all the poems coded into different lengths, and I know which ones are the faves. I know which ones I can get in just before the train arrives.
Just watch me walking in all the squares.
Platform poetry probably wouldn't work as well at bigger, busier stations. Perhaps that's why this seems so endearing. Alan Sinclair, BBC South Today, Wokingham.
Certainly super stuff. The platform's always all right with Tony Knight. That's the best I could do at short notice anyway. Right, on that note, then we better leave you. Tomorrow night we'll tell you news about what will be the next America's Cup. All of that from 6:30. Don't forget news summary at 10:30 tonight. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.